8.
Oh my God.
Well, gather around, folks. Let me tell you a tale about politicians and their promises that always seem to fail.
How dare you?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Top of the time zone. I'm Alan C. You're with Johnnie J in the house, here on the Innervision FM universe. You're not going to want to miss today's podcast. Brought to you by Colorado Art Relief Fund, Eeny Meeny Grants, Bonefields Foundation, Chinook Foundation, Christian Brothers Moving Company, based in the great state of Texas, Englewood, Colorado, and Phoenix, Arizona. Also, Richard Damiano of the Littleton Eye Clinic. Stay with us.
Oh my God.
That's who we love, and that's who we serve.
I sound like I'm in a red solo cup.
Hey, bro, this is the Godfather Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, here we are. We are here live after the aftermath of last night dueling. I've heard that it got Tucker Carlson got 90 million views.
Yeah, 90 plus million views. Just it's
That was more than he got on Fox.
Yeah, I think he might have gotten like 3 million views a show or something like that on Fox. I don't
They
have
said
the
it was
exact.
more views than Oprah Winfrey with Michael Jackson.
Holy smoke.
That's
Wow.
great.
Yeah, this
It
new
is crazy.
medium, these new mediums, man, it's like, and it didn't crash.
It didn't crash.
It
No,
didn't crash.
No, it didn't crash.
Wow.
Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let us know if you caught the debate or if you watched Tucker Carlson interview Donald John Trump, our former president, President 45. Let
Yeah.
us know in the
Still 45.
comments. What's
Yeah.
that? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you see me in 2D, it's like I'm using my phone because sometimes the computer will shut out and this is just cut out the drag time.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
So, hey, and I'd like to thank Dr. Gerardo Salanello. He's a herbalist physician and so forth. And, I went in for my blood test because it's really weird. When I go in and maybe like if you like abuse a dog, then that dog will always remember like you or something like that. Just like what's that show, I, Jimmy Genie, and that little dog that always attacked guys but had uniforms on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so what I can test my blood pressure in the morning and it's perfect. And then as soon as I go in the doctor, it goes up, and he calls it the white coat syndrome. So it's like, it's like, even though, that was a long time ago, it's just something about when I go in there and I don't believe them for the most part anyway. And then especially like I was going back and forth with my daughter and stuff like that. When I have a friend named Wayne, and he's hard of hearing. And so, but sometimes he'll pretend that he could hear because he doesn't want to be stigmatized with, and he wouldn't wear what are those things called, hearing aids, for a long time. So the doctors about 2 years ago recommended a medication. Now they might have said these are the symptoms, but since he was sick and whatever, he took the medication, and it ended up ruining his kidneys, where he's now on dialysis.
I've got a friend that just recently got diagnosed with diabetes. For our friends and neighbors watching us on YouTube, we're not going to go too far down the rabbit hole because YouTube has been kind enough to update their terms and conditions just so that holistic. Yeah, it is a total blessing. So holistic medicine, things like plant-based diet and that kind of thing. It's fine as long as the FDA and the CDC and the WHO and the others alphabet soup approves, then it's okay. But you don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because you might just get click.
Well, info@innervisionfm.com. And believe me, I'll direct you over to Dr. Geraldo, and he can tell you some of the stuff that he told me. And it's so funny. It's like, I think I get out in the sun enough, but it's like, I guess there's a vitamin D deficiency. And I said, huh? Okay, so I could either take, I got this 10,000 milligram, pill that I could take, or he was saying recommend like 1,000 milligrams. And I'm saying, wow, I'm doubling it really a lot. And so I said, we'll see. So anyway, that is what it is. But anyway, let's get into and thank our sponsors for helping us out. And you know what? I have a feeling that because I got about 480,000 grants out there that we haven't received a yes, no, or maybe on yet.
Wow. And
I have a feeling that that's going to cover next year, and then I'll just keep writing grants, and then that'll cover the year after. It seems like it's like a year lagging in when these guys respond.
We're also listener supported, so we need your help. Hit us up at the www.innervisionrecords.org. Check out our mission statement, www.innervisionfm.com. And just a couple of housekeeping things there. If you like this kind of this commentary, let us know, and we'll see if we can bring more of that. Grassroots musicians are our bread and butter. So Johnny Johnson did also start a new school, teach you how you too can do this at home, just like us. It's a lot of fun, and with the new disguises coming back, and possible other things, it might just be that we may all be working from home one more time.
Hey, you never know. Lie to me.
Everybody already woke up over that crap.
That's true. What do you guys think out there? Did you wake up? Are you going to comply, or are you going to kind of skip this one this time around?
Yes. So I was trying to get it on Twitter or X, Twitter, whatever that's called, and I kept getting the advertisement that was like, I think it was like a minute and 30 some seconds, minute 40 seconds.
Cool video.
Yeah, and that kept going over and over. And I kept clicking that, thinking like, well, it's gonna convert to the next video, but it didn't happen. So then I got this notification from the real Dana, who does the Judge Joe Brown show.
Oh, wow.
And so I just went over there and I started watching it. And she was bragging about that she's gotten more views than she's ever gotten with the Judge Joe Brown. And I said, well, hey, that's an idea, but anyway, so Alan, we both split off and said, okay, Alan said he's going to go watch the debates. And I said, I'm going to go watch the Tucker Carlson and Trump interview. And, so it was some of the, that you gotta, sometimes he's reminding us a lot about what he had did, because if he doesn't, it seems like people have this what is it called? Short memory span?
Yeah, short-term memory loss. They kind of tend to forget. They're kind of like, we're all as human beings conditioned to have this goldfish memory, where if it doesn't stay right there in our spotlight, our mind's eye, so to speak, it doesn't stay there. It just kind of goes away. That is a lot due to visual stuff. That is a lot due to visual stimulus. For a blind guy like myself, I just eat knowledge and I don't forget. And now that I don't smoke anymore, not cigarettes, but now that I don't smoke anymore, why? I can remember everything. It's awesome.
Speaking of smoking, we were in the line and this guy got these cigarettes. So I looked up the kind of cigarettes he got, and I'm not sure if I read it right, but it said it was $100 for the box that he would get, but King Supers reduced it down to $10.
What? Wow.
I'm saying 100. I said, could they reduce it that much?
Wow. Are you talking about a carton of cigarettes or a pack?
Well, I'm talking about like a carton, probably like a carton, several
Okay.
packs within that carton.
20 packs in it.
Yeah.
Carton has 20 packs. $100 is still a pretty good deal for a carton of cigarettes.
I remember when I was paying a quarter a pack.
Golly, me too. Me too. Actually, I didn't.
When I was in the Navy, I mean, we got them. That's all we had to do on the ship was smoke cigarettes, and you know.
Now maybe I read it wrong. Maybe it was $10 off of $102.
That could be. That could be
That's
$10
that
off.
sounds more
sounds-
reasonable.
Yeah, it sounds more reasonable. It sounds, but you know, the debates were. There's no contest. I mean, the Vivek Ramaswamy is getting a bunch of accolades. Some people say that Kayleigh McEnany kind of took the stage. Other people say Vivek took it. And, you know, Vivek, he was interesting because he went ahead and right out of the gate, you know, came out swinging. A lot of folks, including Chris Christie, got an earful from this guy. And he was talking a lot about what he was going to do versus, you know, the other candidates and things like this. I'm really glad that the debates show didn't really turn too much into a bash Trump fest, although there was plenty of that going on. What did you see on the Tucker Carlson interview, Johnny?
Well, and there's just a comment. I got an email, no, not an email, a text saying McEnany won the debate, and please give a donation because of her magnificent show on the debate. And I said, okay, that's an interesting way, the Ben thing. And then I got something from Tim Scott saying, you didn't hear me, or something about you didn't hear me clear enough when I said this and said that. I got several. I don't know how I got double listed on his email. They look like it's almost like they get to I got 2 Innervision accounts, and I haven't checked. Yeah, I don't know how they find scope all that stuff out, because it's like I only get political stuff on one of them, but then they seem to find the other one, and then they found my third one.
Well, if you share your contacts in any way to, like, say, your Outlook, if you sync your emails up or do any of this stuff, or if you use a browser that is AI based, it will do that for you. It's just trying to help you out. And sometimes you end up getting all kinds of emails in an email box you don't want.
Yeah. Well, and then during the debate, it was always, and it was nice that in a lot of these stations, because sometimes I look at these guys and they're rebroadcasting something and they'll talk through it, right?
Giving their talk over it.
Yeah. Now, Dana, she was really good, and she didn't do any of that stuff. She just said, let me let the audience hear it for themselves without my commentary. And then afterwards, if I have any
Break it
commentary, and then, you know, of course, the people like in the, what's that, subject line, you know, they did their, you know, their thing and so forth. And so that was kind of cool that she let us make up our own mind about what we were hearing.
Did you catch anything in the Philippines, Mike?
I just had I couldn't watch it live, so I watched the Trump debate.
Yeah.
Last night I watched it.
And I don't know, do you think that we kind of like goad him to say, well, you're a coward, you know? We already know what he stands for. So I don't understand that stance of he's a coward because he didn't go.
Yeah. He doesn't have to go.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm 40, 50,
he's
60,
already got the people behind him. He has no business going on a debate. You know, there's no point in it. He pointed out on the Tucker Carlson interview that it wouldn't be right for him to go on there.
Yeah.
It would almost be like a heavyweight.
He's a TV guy. He's a TV guy. He knows what he has and what he doesn't have. He has no reason to go on and debate those morons on there.
And And you saw how that.
Ramaswamy, I mean, he's probably ahead of the pack, but he's still lacking.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I
lacking.
wouldn't see a problem with Ramaswamy getting a presidency in 2028 and seeing about taking this right into 2036. But he's got a good handle on one thing. I think you said something the other day, or yesterday maybe it was, where he says, you don't hand the car keys over to a mechanic that has already broken your car and say, here, okay, now you can fix it. It's interesting because that's a good analogy, but the bottom line is you don't take the car to the mechanic that you don't trust in the first place. That's something that's really important, is for at least 74 million folks, they already trust the mechanic because the mechanic trusts in the owner of the shop, and the owner of the shop is Christ. And so therefore, you want a leader that at least gives God the glory. He's imperfect, just like I am. We're all imperfect, but even for all of his ego, I guess, as it were, he admits that he's imperfect, but he doesn't focus on the fact that he's imperfect. He just wants to get the job done, and the Constitution is what he stands for. Oh, Johnny just left it, but all right.
So, looking back with the Ramaswamy, he goes back to the rest of the people that were on that stage.
Yeah.
They're owned by somebody.
Yeah, they're all owned.
Somebody's paying their bills for them. They aren't.
That's right.
That's where Trump has it over every one of them. He doesn't accept the corporate stuff. Doesn't need it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's interesting that you bring that up, hey Joe, because the bottom line is even Ramaswamy is being accused of taking Soros money, and whatever that means, but he's also an outsider like Trump, but Trump is the original outsider, and handing the reins over to a new guy that doesn't know how the buttons are positioned, where to push the right things, where to move the right joysticks and all this stuff. Whereas Donald John Trump has already been in there for 4 years. He knows
DC now. He knows who he can trust. He knows the people he's going to have. Everything else. I mean, there'd be no reason to vote for anybody else. None. In my view. I have to vote by mail, but actually they have a new vote counting thing that you can track your vote.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
For mail-in votes. So that's pretty cool. That's in Colorado.
Yeah, I saw that, where you can track your vote, kind of like a package, make sure it gets to the right place and gets counted correctly. Which is, if you're going to have mail-in ballots and things like that, why there ought to be a way to track and make sure that your vote got correctly counted. But I'm still a big fan of paper ballots. I'm still a big fan of in-person. Yeah.
Okay. Am I back in double?
Yes, you are.
You're back in the saddle again.
Back in black.
Okay. Oh man, I got. Keep talking. I need to mute myself.
Hey, this is pretty cool, man. Sound like I'm back in the 60s. Oh, never mind.
All right. Okay, so I got it. Oh, this is really weird. Well, okay. So it looks like, and then it was like the Tucker was trying to like really ask these very provocative questions about, they're trying all these things to get you, like, to say uncle, and And it seems like it's like nothing seems to be working, okay, we'll attack your friends, and somebody on that side is going to say uncle. Now I feel like I kind of upset with the who's the lady who wanted to, she was a lawyer. She said she's going to bring the cracking, and she had all the
That'd be Sidney
tears.
Powell.
Yeah, sitting at the tears. And then when she was in Georgia, that guy who sounded like a preacher was saying, and if I was down here, I wouldn't vote at all. And he was just, and then a lot of people in Georgia didn't vote because he said, oh, your vote will not count. And she's sitting up there like, and she's there. And I'm thinking like that was a little bit of sabotage on that guy. I don't know. I forgot what his name, but he's one of those lawyers that was in the John Bonet, and he's always been that kind of person that he likes to get the spotlight and guide people a certain way.
That there is Lynn Wood.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean, and like I said, yeah, I think he's like a snake in the grass.
He is.
Well, he's interesting because he kind of dropped out of everything after about 3 years.
He got caught cheating people and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
I can
the
imagine.
kid in Racine. He was his lawyer.
Yeah.
And he screwed him over bad.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you folks? What do you folks think down there in the comments here in the Innervision FM universe? Don't forget to let us know, because it's important that everybody has a way to weigh in and have their opinions be heard. Yeah, sure, we support the Trump train. We're on it all the way. But let us know what you think. Are you for one of these 8 other Republican candidates that are out there? Or, gosh, are you a Democrat watching us and going, oh boy, you guys got your tinfoil hats screwed on tight. We want a Democratic president. Let us know what you think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Vivek might be a good choice for vice president.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because if you got 2 businessmen at the helm of the greatest nation in the world, you could conceivably have a really good chance at restoring the constitutional republic. It's important that we do have a democratic representation, but a lot of people forget that we're not a democracy. I mean, sure, we've got a process, but we are absolutely a Republican. We're a democratic. Sorry, I almost did it. We're a constitutional republic.
Yeah, and so as I understand it, like what's his name? The governor of Florida. He laid back. He didn't want to get in any cross arrow. Tim Scott was almost invisible. And then the other people, I don't even know. They were like really invisible.
I don't have a list in front of me, but there was a question asked as to who would support Trump if he actually were to get onto the nomination, and there were 6 folks that went ahead and they said, sure, yeah, we'll go ahead and support. One of them, interestingly enough, was Mike Pence. One of them being Mike Pence, he kind of waited until he knew which way the wind was blowing with regard to the crowd, and then his hand went up. Chris Christie had originally raised his hand a little bit, and then he's like, oh, no, I didn't mean that. So he was kind of out of there. But there were 2 that totally didn't support Trump nomination in any way, shape, or form. So it is interesting.
I think those people that were on stage, most of them are kayfabe.
Yeah.
They're part of Trump's deal.
Yeah.
Pence especially.
Yeah.
He's not a traitor. He's playing a role. He's taking it for the country. He's taking the shots for the country.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've heard that before, that he's actually, kind of still in Trump's camp. That's probably why last night when Tucker asked Trump the question about, what he thought of Pence, Trump would not say anything bad against Pence, really. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, Trump just said they had a difference in opinion on what he could or
That's
couldn't
right.
do.
That's right.
And I don't know.
And
Just
they all
before that, go ahead.
remember they changed it. They had that they buried it in this other money grab thing that they passed, and they changed what they said that he couldn't do to make it like where he couldn't do it. Then any other president, any vice president couldn't do it. So if it wasn't for real, why would they have to go and tweak that and put it within another bill to make sure that couldn't be used again? And so we as Republicans, we just have to change that.
That's going to turn around and bite him right in the butt.
Oh yeah. Gee. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear some stuff on this show that because between the three of us, if one of us missed something, the other one remembers something. So you got a lot of brain power here. That even though they're trying to rewrite history and tear down statues, and they have this reconciliation statue that they're in Arlington that they're trying to tear down because they say, well, we don't want the people to know that in the South they want to have a statue that represents the reconciliation of people just coming together. We had this war, and Alan, you were saying something. This is a little bit off base, but it's just something history that I want to talk about. That Alan and I we talked about that war that everybody says the Civil War didn't begin, wasn't started because of pretty much the slave trade. It started because the North was putting a lot of taxes on the South, and they said they wanted to accede from the rest of the Union because of that. And then it developed into the slavery, getting rid of slavery. But that's not how it started. But you won't learn that in the history books because the Democratic Party is too busy trying to dumb down the American public and people that are in their system.
That's interesting that you bring that
right.
up. Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. I got relatives on both sides of the fence, so to speak. I've got relatives from the North that served in the military all the way back to the Civil War. I got relatives on the South. And back when I was a child, I used to play with Confederate money. I mean, real Confederate money. If I just had a little bit of that stuff right now, I could turn that stuff into a museum and make all kinds of cash, and my homeless problems would be solved. But I got none of that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. From the Southern standpoint, this Civil War that we had back in the 1860s was first termed as a war against Northern aggression. And it was to do with the textiles, meaning manufacturing, had paper. There was paper involved, meaning, the creation of paper. There was even hemp involved with that because hemp was a cheaper source of product, and they didn't want to use this cheaper source of product to make paper. You could use this hemp, which our United States Constitution was written on originally, but they wanted to use vellum, and they wanted to use all these other more expensive ways to make paper. That's just one example of what was going on. And you see, slavery was doomed from the start. As soon as the United States Constitution was ratified in 1787 or 1791, really, when it was ratified and signed by George Washington, the slave trade was on its way out. And I say that because, for thousands of years, that slave trade was everybody's bread and butter worldwide.
Worldwide.
And that's
didn't they say that it went down to like about 5%? So it wasn't like a massive thing
right,
in itself. It was just 5%.
right,
Yeah.
right. And you're not going to hear this stuff in the history books. And I wouldn't have heard this stuff in the history books. In fact, I never learned it at school. I always was told, oh, it's a slave trade. Oh, it's a slave. But both my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family corroborated on this. And they were both like, no, not so much.
Yeah. You ever heard that it was what's that guy? Oh man, he was Groucho Marx. He did that show. It was like you betcha.
Bet your life.
Yeah,
You bet
and
your life, yep.
man, the things that we knew, the young people knew back in those days would overshadow what we're not learning today, man. Because I mean, they really had a big grasp of, they could speak in the different different languages and stuff like that, and they just knew stuff. And it's almost like, gee, it's like if we just take a measuring tape and can measure that and stop forgetting stuff.
That's why hard copy is so important, especially today. Grab a pen and paper. I do understand that, what do you call it? Kodak film and this kind of thing. It's out. You can't really develop your own pictures. That's a lost art. But, there's still pens and papers, write stuff down. Hard copy is important because digital information can be manipulated. So, it is something to definitely keep in mind when you're keeping your own history and passing that to your future generation, which is our children. They're not going to remember a lot of this stuff unless they're taught. And the only way to teach them is to literally teach them by story and by showing them with hard copy what's going on. Even if you got to print out your digital information and keep it that way, do it that way as well.
Oh yeah. So and speaking of my keeping a history, we want you to share, subscribe, and like the show. It helps the algorithm. And leave your comments down there or whatever platform you're watching this the show on. And we really appreciate it. Like I said, we just took the time off last night. And we probably could have rescreened it last night, but I was working on a grant and some other stuff, and I said, I just didn't want to get torn away from that. And so it is what it is. So we're here tonight, and yeah, it was nice having you guys here. So anyway, we're gonna go away. My computer now is like muting me at random.
Hey, it loves you. It loves you.
I was like, yeah. I said, if it's not one thing, it's another. But anyway, that's the way it is. So, hey, we'll see you next week. We may be on the laptop. I'm debating if I'm going to, because there's some editing I want to do that I can't do on my laptop. But we'll see what will happen. But we'll see you guys next week with some more shows. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, info@Innervision FM, info@Innervision FM, and Cash App, $Innervision, capital J. So anyway, so we'll see you guys next time. And I think it's, wait a minute, one. What is that? I'm going to hit the cue.